Hey, welcome back to Mill Yard. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry. Um, we are cutting a little bit of something different today. Seems like it's always something different, but hi, Danny. Hi, buddy. We're cutting using the DRO. And if you guys have watched me in any capacity, you know that as a builder, went to school for structural engineering, architectural drafting. Um, Worked in every piece of the trade. I can add and subtract fractions on the fly off the top of my head, but this is a little bit different case. I got an order for 100 fence boards, 3 3/8 wide, 9/16 thick. Now, when they sent them to me, when they sent me the order, they said 9/16 to 5/8, and I thought, I'll cut them all at 5/8 because then I can do 3/4 drops, and that allows the eighth for the kerf. So I can just do 3/4 drops, pretty simple. But when I was doing up the contract for it, before I started cutting it, because it's so funky, because she wants short. She wants 6 foot, 7 foot, and 8 foot pieces, 100 pieces total, like 57 footers and like 26 footers and 38 footers. When I sent her the agreement, so that it's just a piece of paper with everything written down on it that she can agree to, so that I'm sure of what I'm doing and I don't mess it up and cut 100 pieces of small pieces, lots of cuts. She said she wanted them 9/16, not 5/8. Well, that kind of throws a monkey wrench at you pretty quick. When you start thinking about, well, she wants them 9/16 thick. I actually considered blowing off 3 3/8 boards and then going up to the table saw and setting the table saw at 9/16 and then just running them all through the table saw. And I thought, if I cut some bigger logs, that's going to be a pain in the ass, because then you're going to be getting into like 10 and 12 inch, maybe even 16-inch wide boards at 3 3/8 thick at 8 feet long. And they'll be a little unwieldy trying to run through the table saw. So that sounded kind of stupid. And I decided I'm just going to cut it on the mill. So what I did was I put the DRO on the mill. It's not on there all the time because the batteries will go dead. And what I can do with the DRO is incremental drops. So let me show you. And this is, if there's an argument, if you can see one of those old time Sawyers and that DRO is a dumb thing. Well, when you see me burn through, 5/4 or 4/4 or 8/4 boards, you know that I run off I'll get you a close up here. Actually, I'm going to take you out of the holder and I'll get you a close up. So this is what I run with. We have our outside scale here. This is how far off the bunks the bottom of my blade is cutting. So if you want to cut a 10-inch thick board, you set it at 10, and that cuts 10 inches from the bunks to the bottom of the cut on the top. So this is essentially how far you are off your log bunks to the bottom of the kerf of the band. So if I set it at 10, it would cut that log at 10 inches thick. Then you have on Norwood scale, you got a 3/4 scale, a 4/4 scale, and some others here, but they don't have a 5/4 scale. So I ordered this magnetic scale, which has, let's see here, it's got 9/4, 10/4, 8/4, losing my mind here. This is 4/4 scale on the right in the red. This is 5/4 scale, 1.25 inches. Oh, sorry. This is 1.25 inches. This is 6/4 scale, 1.5 inches. And then you have 8/4, 2-inch. You have 9/4, also 1 3/4. So I use this 90% of the time. Basically, all you have to do is you have to line up. You have to decide which side of this black line you're going to use. I always use the top side of it, and then drop. If I drop from the top side of that to the top side of that, it'll give me a 1-inch thick board. And essentially what it cuts is 1 1/8 inches. So it allows for the 1/8 inch of the kerf and gives me a 1-inch board. So these measurements, the 1 inch, 1 1/4 inches, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 and 2 is what you'll get for a board if you drop on scale here, but it actually cuts 1/8 over. What we have here is a DRO. Turn it on. So right now it's showing me that the way that I have it set up, that I'm 10.5 off the log bunks. And if you look at my outside scale, I know there's going to be parallax here, so maybe you can't see it good, but I'm at 10.5. I'm at 10.5, and I use the top side of the line. It just makes it easier when you're looking from out here and you're looking up. I use the top side of the line. Well, what you can do is when you drop, so if I make the cut at 10.5 and I hit incremental, now see how it goes back to 0. Now anything that I do from the back of the log back, if I raise the head up to come back or whatever, it doesn't matter. When I come back, I'm going to be dropping off where I was. So I can come back and I can drop down 11/16. So let's just go ahead and do that. Let's see, that's 15. Almost 1/32 off right now. Come on, change. There you go. So I can drop 11/16. So what that's telling me is I dropped 11/16 from where I was, and that will give me a 9/16 thick board. Nothing over here is going to work. If you've got to start dropping and doing 11/16 when you don't even have 16th marks, you'd be splitting lines and trying to remember where you were and everything else. And if you have to come back and raise the band up, it'd make it even harder. You'd never get consistent results. We mounted this DRO. I actually made this little plate up right here to use this existing hole. I believe that was the existing hole, yeah. Because over here you can put on a ratcheting stop system that you can adjust. So if you're cutting 4/4 boards, you basically drop down and it ratchets into the next slot for fast cutting, like 4/4. I drilled a hole in it here, mounted the bottom of the DRO scale. If you kind of see it, use just some screws that I had lying around to put the scale on there. The same thing at the top, drilled a hole through, mounted it, and then this part, the reader, I just have clamped on this existing bracket right here. So I can drop 11/16 from where it was. So as I'm making the cut, I just hit incremental, it goes to 0. Then I can do anything I want down the end, come back, drop to minus 11/16 and make the next cut, and I got a 9/16 inch board. So this log here and that piece right there are proof of concept log. It's 7 feet long. I'm just going to blow it into a cant, and I'm going to cut through it and see how it goes and see what the quality of the wood's like that I get out of it. See if I think it's going to be good enough for it before I go ahead and cut this whole order. The only downside to this is that you cannot cut 9/16 from the bottom. So you're going to have a wasteboard on the bottom on every log that's going to be some sort of weird thickness, which it's not really going to matter for me as far as like construction lumber, or for whatever, it'll be fine. It'll end up being close to 1 inch. Hopefully, if I kind of start doing math, doing 11/16 math off the top, I can get it so that it doesn't end up leaving me like some stupid number. But we're only talking about 9/16 board, so it's never going to be off very far. So my plan basically is to take logs about that size, Cut her 8-footers first after I do this log, make sure I can do it. Probably take that one and the one behind it. Make cants, cut 3 3/8 wide slabs, stand them up on their side, and then just drop through them and mill off 9/16" boards. So I already cut that one at 11, did it dropping 11/16 to make sure I got 9/16, and I did. I'm gonna mill this into a square, and I think there's a possibility we'll get 2 cants out of this. I was doing the math last night on how much I'm going to get out of per log to get the 100 pieces, and it's they're actually going to cut out fairly quick. The only finicky side is going to be trying to get the DRO not to be reading 30 seconds. I've got it set at its lowest resolution, which is 30 seconds. So it kind of makes it a little fiddly when you're trying to set 16ths, but it still does work. So what I'm going to do while I got you on, I'm waiting for a couple customers. Just had a lady come out, and that's why I didn't start videoing before, because I knew she was going to show up on me. I got one more customer coming out in a while. I'm not sure when. I'll just pause you when he gets here if we're not done. But I'm going to mill the rest of this log out. I'll talk to you while I'm doing it, try to give you some different views. We'll measure the boards. We'll see how they come out. So what I don't want is I'm worried about knots and stuff like that, that boards this thin are going to fall apart. They got to be pretty clear logs. My first thought was that I'll mill all my shorts, and all my shorts are kind of knotty, and I don't want to mill a whole log and then have like half the boards break. So I think I'm going to have to use some pretty clear logs, and I've got some older ones here that I can cut down, some older white pine, and I'll try to mill out everything at like 8'1" and just mill her a shit pile at 8'1" and give her more and let them cut them down. They're going to put a profile on the top. I guess it's got what she called the Gothic profile on the top. Why she can't find them anywhere else, I don't know. I found them on Home Depot pretty quick. So let's get to milling and see what happens here. So I've already got it blown off the top and bottom. I've got kind of a thin spot here. I think I'd like to take one more piece off this side before I spin it on its side. And what's going to be the determining factor is I don't want to go, if I can avoid it, I don't want to go below. So 6 3/8 and 6 3/8 is, I'm sorry, 3 3/8, 3 3/8, 6 3/4, and 1/8 is 6 7/8. So you don't want to, let's just say I don't want to blow below 7 inches in any dimension if I can avoid it, because that'll allow me to cut 2 cants out of the cant at 3 3/8 each. So if I could go down right now and just cut it at 6 7/8, I would, but I don't exactly know how well it's going to clean up yet. So I'm going to see where I am, make a determination, probably flip it on its side. I'm either going to take one more board out of here or flip it on its side. What I don't think I'm going to do in this particular case is I'm not going to try to take a bunch of boards out of the flitch cuts. I don't know how much of a pain in the ass that's going to be. If they were really wide, like right now, I could take a 9/16 board off here and I could get 3 3/8 wide right out of the heart of this. Question is, how much of a pain in the ass is that going to be? I'm not sure yet, and there's a possibility that I could edge batch edge one side of them. If they were thicker, if it was bigger logs, and let's say that the flitch was 12, 14 inches wide, then it wouldn't be so much of a pain in the ass. But on something little like this, trying to cornhole it down to get the perfect cut. I don't know that that would work great. You know, I could see edging one side and then maybe having a whole stack of them and just running them through the table saw at 3 3/8 might be okay too. So I'm not going to get super honed in on making all my flitch cuts 9/16 is what I'm saying. So let's see where we are. I'll go through the math with you quick. My DRO is already set on incremental. I'm going to have to take it off incremental right now. Put it back to absolute mode, which is I'm 11 and a 32nd. We'll get down. We'll see where this cut was made. I'm not sure. This way I can know where I am. It looks like this cut was made at 8. So I think it's a pretty wide cut on the bottom. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take it at 6 7/8. If I take it at 6 7/8, I get a 1-inch board off the top. 9/16 does not divide out, so I think I'm just going to go ahead, fire up, take it right at 6 7/8, set my width that way, and then we'll flip it on its side. You can always use 1-inch boards. Shut my DRO off in between because I don't want to go through those batteries really fast. So you can always use 1-inch boards. I am throwing my slab cuts on the Bobcat, and I'm going to get rid of them. Hey, I actually went through that without dogging it down. So we'll get on its side, square it up, take the top off it. Looks like we're actually doing this in the right orientation based on the log. Since this is kind of a proof of concept log, I'm not going to get overly obsessive about this particular log. It looks like I kind of could have screwed myself over there. I'm not as wide on this side as I am on the other, but as long as I'm getting 9/16 boards, that's all that matters. Having trouble with this log dog is just not working great. I think that's pretty close to square. Nope. I did it is nice that I can bridge it at 7 feet. I had to only go on 2 bunks, but I can use all 3 dogs if I want to, which is kind of cool. It's perfectly square. Find my tape measure. I debated just slabbing everything out at 3 3/8 and then just standing them up. Which I'm not exactly, it's 9 inches. I'm not exactly sure that that's not a bad idea yet. That's kind of why I'm doing this log, to see how it goes. 9. Maybe 9 1/4. Almost 9 1/2. I think I'll take this off at, it's a little dip down there. I think I will just take this off at 9. So let's just go ahead and do it. My mill is cutting laser beam flat right now. It's cutting nice and smooth, nice and flat. I do have some big news coming up. I'm going to shut off in between just so you can hear me. Some big news coming up. The big news is that I did order roller guides. I had to get some stuff from Norwood this week, and I had to order another box of blades from Days. And I do have the roller guides coming. I will tell you that Norwood answered me immediately, because I get sick of seeing all these people saying they can't get parts from Norwood. Answered me immediately. I get an email immediately. Stuff shipped right out. No problems. So just for the sake of safety, I think that it's a good idea on this cut right here. If I can stay above that, if I can stay above that 7 and or 6 7/8, if I can stay above that on this cut, it allows me to use the cant either way. And then just basically I'll cut the cant in half, flip them on this side, and then mill 9/16 through them. So let's try it. Let's see where we're at here. It should be somewhere. So it's looking like I'm just going to cut it there anyway. I'm just going to cut it at 6 7/8. There's a dip down right here that's going to be right about that height. So I'm just going to cut this off at 6 7/8 so we can get this party started. Then I can drop down and cut it in half at 3 3/8. So we're going to go to 6 7/8. Yeah, that's going to work. So I've got, I'll show you this. What I've got is I've got this teeny little inclusion here that if I do this the wrong way, that's going to be in every board. It's going to, if I cut it in half this way, that's only going to be in 2 boards. If I cut it in half this way, then I'm milling down, it's going to be in a bunch of boards. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it on its side, cut it in half this way. And then flip that side up. No, I want that side down. I'll never even touch it. So I'll put the bad side down after I cut it in half. I'll never be able to get that close to the deck. So we're going to mill this in half. I'll measure it, but I'm going to come up 3 3/8. Make a mark that should be right in the middle. Mill it in half. Rotate it like this, and then we'll do the DRO thing and we'll mill it out. So that's 3 3/8. We'll make a mark on it, make sure it's in the middle. Make sure I got 3 3/8 top and bottom. I know that 3 3/8 is absolutely perfect. It's perfect. 3 3/8 both sides. I know this is just rough stone lumber, but Keep the laughter to a minimum. Let's just cut it now. Now we'll roll it on its side. We'll get it all dogged down so it can't move. We know that this height should be 6 7/8. We know that. Yep, perfect. And then we can go down to 6 7/8 to the top, hit our incremental mode, and then drop on 11/16 drops. See how it goes. Probably put 2 dogs in it just for the hell of it. So I guess the moral of the story here is just an argument of why the DRO works. Let me see what your view looks like. Say hi to Danny. Danny, the mill dog, is chilling with us today. So you get 2 3 3/8 cants. I'll set you over here, come back like this one. Mill through, we'll measure the first board out, make sure it comes out right. So I'm just going to drop down to 6 7/8 and hit my incremental button, drop 11/16 and cut 2 off. So 6 7/8 should be where I was. Hit my DRO. That's telling me 29 30 seconds, which is only a 30-second difference. That's just your perception. Seven eighths right there. So hit my incremental button right here. I'm showing 0. So we're going to drop 11/16, half, 5/8, 11/16 right there. So let's mill it right here. Let's see how thick a board we get. Set my set myself all the way in and give myself the best support. Now, before I move, so I don't have to do math, I'm going to hit incremental again. Back to 6 3/16 is which where I am. Hit incremental one more time, then back to 0. Now I can go right back. Now it doesn't matter where I go, I can raise up, come right back. Drop negative 13/16. 11/16. Let's do this and we'll see how they all come out. One thing I just did there that you don't want to do, because then I'll have to go back and check where I was, is you don't want to adjust the mill before you hit your incremental button again. You're going to want to hit your incremental button every single time so you're moving from where you were. So let's go ahead and get you guys, and I will send her this video probably. Get you guys a view. We'll do some measuring on these. Let's see how they came out. I didn't know how this was going to go, how it was going to work. It looks, I only have to do that 25 more times and I'm done. What I just did. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Actually, back you up just a little bit. So these should be, in theory, 9/16, as close as they possibly can come. So yeah, these are 9/16. This one looks a little thick. It cut pretty straight overall. This one looks a little thicker. This one's a 1/16 thick. This one's 9/16. This one's kind of a 1/16 thick too. This is almost 13/16. I just think that that's probably as close as we're going to be able to get. Let me check the other end. Actually, let's look down them. They look fairly straight. They're 3 3/8 wide. 3 3/8 wide. So width comes out good. Would you ever notice the difference in a fence? I don't think I would, because they're going to be bendy. They're so thin. Let's do this. Let's cut. I'm going to have to come down, brush the top. And do another drop, and let's check another one out. Let's go ahead and mill another one off. Let's say I screwed up and how I'm going to fix it now. So I don't know where I was or anything. So let's come up and let's set it, and let's cut another 2 off. It's cutting nice and straight. This band's that one I've had on too. Let's go ahead. We'll turn our DRO on. Keep my glove off for a second so I can hit buttons. So let's get down till we're brushing sawdust here. Okay, I am pushing sawdust. Does that deflect off? That's pretty much where, it's pretty much perfect. So let's hit incremental. 0. Let's drop 11/16. That's 11/16. So let's mill this off right here. Let's see how it comes out. Now before I drop, let's do another one real quick. Before I drop, I'm going to hit incremental. Not 0. Go back and raise up a little bit like I just did. Just drop down to negative 11/16. Show me 11/16 right there. Do the same thing. I wonder if I could just hit 0 right now. Let's try 0, and then I don't have to mess with it. Oh, that took me to an absolute measurement. Oh, I went all the way back to, okay, I messed up something. Hitting 0 messed up my DRO. It took out my preset. See if I can get back to where I was. I'm on incremental. I want to come off incremental, go back to absolute. Huh. I gotta reset my preset now. So I messed up my game. So I just learned something. Let's check these out. I messed up my preset against I messed up my preset against my scale by hitting 0. That was dumb. Let's check these out. Let's see how they came out. These look good. 9/16, 3 3/8, 9/16. You know, shade over, less than a 32nd, 9/16. So these all came out good. So I guess in theory the process works great. Just gotta not try to hit 0 again. These are all like just a little over 7 feet long. I don't think it would take that long to cut the whole order, because I mean there's 8 of them here. Probably get another 8 out of that. That's 16 out of that dinky little teeny log. That's a quarter, almost. You think about this, I'm going to do this 24 more times. So 24 more cuts and I'd be done if I had those 2 cants on there. So I get a bigger log on there and if I can get 3 cant wide, if I get 3 cants wide, I get a shit pile out of them really fast. So I think this is completely viable. You know, this is nice. I'm going to go ahead to milling in the spirit of not making this video go a million miles long. I got to reset my preset so that 1 equals 1. It's probably saved in there. I just don't know how to get to it. Since I'm kind of new to this DRO, I think the easiest thing for me to wrap my head around is just set the preset back to 1, and take it from there. I could keep zeroing, so I could go down and brush the log in 0, just hit 0 in incremental mode and drop 11/16 and then cut it again. Let's see if that works. Let's come back. You guys come back here with me, rather than resetting the whole thing right now. Let's see if that's a good workaround. So those of you who want to sign off, sign off. But let's see if I can do that. See if I can get on the log. So right now I'm showing plus 31/30 seconds. So yeah, looks right. So looks like, oops. Let's make that 0. Is that up? No, that's up. So I want to just get myself to just brushing the log. Of course, I got that sawdust on this, so I can't see. Let's get myself down to where I'm just brushing the log. All right, that's kind of just bumping into the log right there. So if right here, if I hit 0, it's showing me 1. If I go to incremental mode, I'm at 0, so I could just drop to negative 11/16. 5/8, 21, 11/16. So let's fire it up and let's cut it right here. So I'm showing negative 11/16 right now. And then I'll come back and I'll hit 0 again and see if we can just drop, see if we can stay in incremental mode. Then I don't have to worry about the preset on the other side. That might work. Let's try it. Slow these down. Let's cut it here, and then I'll come back and I'll zero it, or I'll zero it down the other end and come back and drop 11/16 again. Looks right. Now the good part here is that you can leave these on. So if I zero right now, right, I can come up as much as I want and then drop for negative 11/16 and do it again. It's only 11:30 seconds. Oop. Cut 5/8. There's negative 11/16. Let's try that. Looks right. Let's take these over to the bench and we'll measure these out and see what happened. That way I don't have to preset. I can just use the DRO just for my drops, and I don't have to worry about presetting the inch scale on the side to my bunks. Let's check these out. They look right. They look perfect. So let's check it out. Hopefully you can see those. Kind of make our way over here. I left my tape over here anyway, so we'll measure these out. And like I said, when I upload this video later, I will link her to it so she can actually see the whole process. Is kind of something that I offer for people. Yeah, these are beautiful. Maybe close to 5/8, 9/16, 9/16. So it all depends on which side of that, on the DRO, which side of the 11/16 you're on. You can be off a little bit on that. But just for reference, at 3 stacks high right there, that's, you know how well it's going to show up. But at 3 stacks high right there, it's nice and even. So they're cutting them, it's cutting them really into a, for rough sawn lumber, it's cutting them pretty close tolerance. I think it's working great. So here's the argument for the DRO. Just if you guys haven't watched my video on putting that DRO on, you can watch a video on our, I think it says we installed the DRO on our sawmill. It's back quite a ways. That's an iGuaging easy view. Let me grab the paperwork for you. Now, you can watch till I walk over there. If you want to sign off because I walked away, then sign off. I keep all the brackets and the DRO and everything in its little box here. And when I take the DRO off the machine, I take one of the batteries out and leave it in the bottom of the box, so it doesn't have any power when it sits in here. What I found out leaving it on there, I think when the cover was flapping around, the cover was hitting the buttons and it was turning on. I'd come out to run the mill one day and the DRO would be on, and it went dead pretty quick. So I started taking the batteries out of it. So let's see here. I got this off of eBay. It's got like a 36-inch scale on it. You can see the item number, right? I don't know why it's got the X's there, but it's an iGuaging Easy View Remote DRO. Like I said, I have the scale, I think is 36. This scale here, the number 2. So that looks like the item number. You can pick them up on eBay. They're not super expensive. It is, you should watch videos on it. It comes with a bunch of different mounts to mount it differently. You know, you can put it on a table saw or on your drill press or any of that stuff too. It does have an AC power port. If you wanted to go ahead and plug it in with a power supply. There are a bunch of videos on it on YouTube you can watch. I found them kind of helpful. So, some guys with woodland mills have put them on. And like I've said before, I don't use it very often. I got it for my wife because my wife isn't good at subtracting fractions. So she learned how to use this thing. It would make her able to do this. And if you had to start subtracting 11/16 over and over and over again and adding it up, you know, that would become a problem. So what 22/16 would be 16/6, so it'd be 3/8, so it'd be 11/16, and then inch and 3/8, I think. I think that's right. But she would have trouble doing that. So I'm going to cut the rest of this log out, and I'm going to get a bigger one up here. I'm going to mill out a bunch of 8-footers and keep working at it. And for now, that's pretty much it. So the DRO has its place on that mill. How often will I use it? Almost never. But it's nice to know if I have to mill something like this, I can get these fairly repeatable results. Certainly for rough sawn lumber, this is great. This is great. These are going to be bendy. You know, obviously they're thin, they're small. I thought they were going to start falling apart, but I think this order is going to go a lot faster than I thought. I think if I get a big log up on here, I could mill almost the whole order out of one decent size 8-footer, and then I'll just give them all 8-foot lengths. I'm charging them as if these are 1 inch a piece because there's so many cuts. Just to let you know, these are $3 boards. So this is $3. You have to do it that way. It's so many cuts. It doesn't make any sense to charge for the actual in the board feet. So these are $3 a piece, and they will cut their own profile on the top, and I think they'll work out super. So thanks for watching, and we'll take one more look at Danny here chilling out. Hey, Danny. Hi, buddy. Say bye. He's just chilling out, looking for squirrels. This Pirate Solutions out.